All right, Sunday quarterback time. The Huskers come close, missed opportunities. We've heard this before, obviously, but kind of a new set of circumstances. 28-20 to the final. Sean, let's first talk about offensive coordinator Dana Holgorsen. He's been on the job just for a hot minute, and what did you think the difference was today in the offense than what you've seen all season long?
I thought the overall operation, the rhythm, the tempo, the pace of the offense was better. I thought they found more in the running game, especially with both Dowdell and Emmett Johnson, that we hadn't seen. But still, the downfield passing, the ability to get separation and get open in man-to-man defense, that has been a real struggle for Nebraska. And I think that's the one thing that's holding this offense back. The receivers just are not giving them enough production to win a game like this.
They utilized the running backs a little more in the passing game. Emmett Johnson had the nice touchdown, and even they got Dante Dowdell involved in the pass game.
And that's a sign of man-to-man. If someone's going to man you up, you flare those running backs out on linebackers and you get matchups because on the perimeter, Nebraska's guys were just having a really hard time getting separation, getting open down the field. And I thought Raiola had the one bad throw. He had a couple misreads. And, those are things, as he grows, he's going to get better at. But to win a game like this, Andy, you've got to make those throws.
Yeah, Huskers only 310 yards of total offense. They had those two costly interceptions. But I think that one of the big keys to this game was red zone offense for both sides. Nebraska was 2 of 3 in the red zone, 2 field goals. And USC, 3 of 4. But the 3 were touchdowns, and that was the big difference, I thought.
Yeah, Nebraska, getting only 3 points after the fumble recovery. I mean, that was teed up to score a touchdown. I almost would have liked to have seen Nebraska be more aggressive out of the gates and just not put themselves in the high-stress third down and that like they did. I mean, they were conservative, I felt like, on first and second down, and then that really put all the eggs on third down, and that was the game. I mean, that play, to me, if they score a touchdown there, I think you like Nebraska's
after the block
chances.
Field goal?
You like after the fumble recovery.
After the fumble recovery.
Because the block field goal was all
Right.
the way on the other end. But if they score a touchdown after the fumble
Rather than
recovery,
the field goal.
I think Nebraska wins this game.
I agree. I agree with you 100%. And they've had their chances. And defensively, let's not just pick on the offense because defensively they gave up more than 440 yards. USC can move the ball, and Nebraska didn't get the stops when they had to, especially that long, long drive. That was a backbreaker.
Yeah, 80-some-yard drive, almost 8 minutes. It really felt like the UCLA game, honestly, when Eric Bieniemy had a couple of those big drives on Nebraska. For whatever reason, the pass rush just was not getting home. And give Maeva credit, he stepped up in the pocket a lot. He's a big guy. He's hard to bring down. He moves well. But they weren't lighting him up in the pocket. So he was just having time to throw the ball up. And more than once, those receivers bailed him out today.
I know Husker fans were livid with the officiating, and, to the Nebraska's credit, no one was pointing fingers at the officiating. But, man, at some point, there was multiple tough calls, whether it be the Banks back shoulder thing where he got held on that, or the last play of the game where they got held in the end zone. What's it going to take for this thing to turn for Nebraska to maybe just get fair calls rather than their own calls? What I mean?
The final play, Banks was clearly held there, but they did not call pass interference the entire game. I think the refs would fire back if they were talking to us like, hey, we didn't call it all day. So we let it play out. But that was a pretty blatant hold. But like Raiola said, he goes, we just can't be in that situation. We've got to be better earlier in the game. Yep. So we're not putting the game on a call when the ref has to make a high-stress PI call.
Yeah, I thought one of the other keys for USC was moving the ball with Woody Marks. The guy's terrific. Not only can he run the ball, he ran it for 146 yards, but he also had 6 catches for 36 yards. He is dynamic.
Yeah, Woody Marks was the MVP of this game, especially the way he took it over in the fourth quarter. And, you talk about USC, they have lost games all year in the fourth quarter. They flipped the script finally here on homecoming where they're able to finish it off and run it to victory, where that had been kind of what happened. They lost to Minnesota, they lost to Maryland, Michigan, Penn State. They ran out of gas late, and today they finally pulled one out.
Well, we'd be remiss not to mention Ceyair Wright. His homecoming here, it was homecoming weekend here at USC, and he had a wonderful game. And it started with the pick 6, and he had that huge block field goal that really could have won Nebraska the game.
Yeah, you see what he gave Nebraska. That pick 6 to start a game, I would love to know the data on that, but you probably win the game more often than not. When you start a game like that, then you put the defense back out there again with the pressure on the quarterback. So Ceyair Wright gave Nebraska everything. You could argue right now he is their best corner. He is their best secondary guy. He has made plays, whether it was the strip sack against Illinois, and some of the interception plays, he has been a really, really good addition, and you feel for him because you know how much this game meant.
Well, moving forward, Matt Rule now 0-8 in games that could get them bowl eligibility in 2 seasons at Nebraska. They got 2 more chances left, and you would think that this team would be discouraged beyond belief, but I got the sense, listening to the fellas in postgame, that they were more encouraged than discouraged. Do you agree with that?
Well, I felt like 2 of their 3 final games, this was the hardest one.
I agree.
And the point spread says that. I mean, Nebraska was an 8.5, 9-point dog this week going out here, and they should have won the game. I mean, they had every opportunity to do that, but I feel like we've talked about that a lot. And fans don't want to hear that anymore. They don't want to hear they should have or could have. They want to see it happen, and I think that is the hardest test right now to be a Nebraska fan, that here we go, another Sunday, we're going to wake up, and we're talking about a shoulda, coulda, woulda, and we're 5-5, and we're staring at another season as a Nebraska fan right now of no bowl game.
Yeah, well, Matt Rule said after the game that, eventually this thing is going to push through, and they got to keep pushing through. He kind of poo-pooed the whole snake bit thing because he doesn't want his guys feeling sorry for themselves. And now, next up, you got 2 opportunities left, starting with Wisconsin, and this is one of the more winnable games against Wisconsin that this team will have faced in the last 10 years.
Yeah, and you get them in at a 2:30 time, which I like.
Senior day.
An 11 a.m., that's kind of a quick turn for the fan base. A lot of people traveled here.
Yep.
So you get it back, standard afternoon kick in Memorial Stadium for Senior Day. But man, they got to want this. It's not going to be given. Wisconsin is not going to be giving it to them because, Andy, Nebraska's only beat them 1 time.
Yeah.
1 time in their 14-year history of being a Big Ten member.
Yeah, I think Wisconsin's got 10 in a row against Nebraska. We'll see what that may happen next week when Nebraska entertains Wisconsin at Memorial Stadium.